galaxy had seen war, real war. It had watched armadas burn holes through nebulae. It had recorded planets cracked open by kinetic bombardment. It had studied species that trained from birth to wield plasma, gravity, and fear. The Galactic Joint Defense Council thought it understood what a warrior culture looked like. They were wrong. They didn't find the most terrifying training ground on a fortress moon, or a secret military station, or a hidden death world. They found it in a rectangular room with a polished wooden floor, on a small blue planet, inside a building labeled School. At first, the audio feed sounded like chaos, screaming, heavy impacts, a whistle cutting through the noise, orders shouted, cries of victory and despair. "Get him! Headshot! You're out! Take cover!" The analysts thought they were listening to a live battle. Then the visuals came online. No body armor, no weapons, just children. Small humans in bright sneakers and t-shirts, faces flushed with excitement, standing on opposite sides of a marked court. Between them, a neat row of red rubber spheres. To the council, they did not look like toys. They looked like training munitions. The observers watched, horrified, as the whistle blew and the children surged forward, hurling the balls with shocking force. They watched kids dive, roll, coordinate, sacrifice themselves for teammates, weaponize the environment, exploit bounce angles, and celebrate eliminations with feral joy. The humans called it dodgeball. The council called it early-stage close-quarters projectile combat for pre-military juveniles. They saw a little girl calmly destroy a 3-on-1 ambush with perfect timing and ruthless precision. They saw a small boy take a direct hit, groan dramatically, and then laugh as he walked off the court, already planning how to do better next round. They saw a teacher, an educator, not a soldier, blow a whistle and say, "Good hustle, next round, last one standing wins," and the children screamed with delight. In that moment, the galaxy realized something terrifying. Humans did not wait until adulthood to train for chaos. They let their children play in it. No armor, no shields, no fear. Just rules, a whistle, and the understanding that getting hit wasn't the end. You got up, you played again, you got better. So when the council finally sent an undercover agent to step onto that glossy floor, disguised as a harmless human vice principal, they didn't know what would happen. Would the children see him as an observer, as an authority, or as just another player on the court? He thought he was there to study them. He was wrong. He was about to learn what it meant to stand on the wrong side of a red line, while a group of laughing human children armed themselves with rubber weapons and one simple rule: if it hits you, you're out. And for the first time in recorded history, an elite alien operative would discover a new kind of fear: the fear of being targeted by a 10-year-old with perfect aim. The Varel recon frigate Silent Logic drifted invisibly above the blue-green world designated Terra. On Deck 5, Surveillance Officer Kethran adjusted his headset as a flood of audio poured in from one of the planet's population centers. The signal was tagged Source, Structure Class School, Noise Level Excessive, Status Investigate. Kethran listened. What he heard chilled him. Screaming, loud impacts, rhythmic chanting, a shrill whistle blast. "Contact in the gym," a human voice shouted. "Blue team, you're up first. Red team, defend the line." Kethran yanked off the headset. "Commander, I think I've intercepted a live combat scenario involving juveniles." Commander Zarek turned from the holo table. "Juveniles? Confirm." Kethran put the sound on the main speakers. Children yelled, "Get him! Headshot! "You're out! Throw it! Throw it!" There were sharp, meaty thumps. Bodies hit the floor. Something bounced and ricocheted off walls at alarming speed. A shrill, authoritative human voice cut through the chaos. "No face shots on purpose. You know the rules." Zarek froze. Are there rules to this? Kethran's claws shook. "Commander, I'm pulling video feed now." The main screen lit with an overhead image of a glossy floored chamber, a rectangular battlefield divided by a center line. Two opposing groups of small humans, juveniles, estimated age 8 to 12, stood on either side, faces painted with eager determination. Between them lay a neat row of red rubber spheres. Zarek narrowed his eyes. Those are the projectiles? A whistle blew. Humans surged forward. Tiny warriors grabbed spheres and hurled them with shocking force. The balls slammed into opponents with brutal, echoing thwacks. Victims flopped dramatically to the floor or clutched their torsos, groaning. "You're out!" other children screamed, pointing and laughing with the callous joy of battlefield veterans. One boy went down clutching his chest, rolled twice for dramatic effect, then lay still as his team roared. Kethran whispered, "They're eliminating the weak." Teacher, "Okay, Taylor, maybe not so hard next time." The boy grinned, utterly unapologetic. Zarek watched a smaller girl on the back line, eyes tracking the chaos like a seasoned sniper. When a sphere bounced toward her, she snatched it mid-air and without hesitation fired it across the court. The ball hit another kid in the shoulder so hard the sound made Kethran flinch. "I'm hit!" the kid wailed, then trudged off the court. The observing juveniles cheered. Zarek exhaled. They appear to be training their young in projectile combat at close range. "Commander," Kethran said, "the smallest among them show no fear. They laugh. They taunt fallen opponents." "Zoom in," Zarek ordered. The camera focused on the girl. She bounced on her toes, scanning for targets, her face split in a feral, joyous grin. "That one," Zarek said quietly, "is dangerous." Kethran swallowed. "Shall I flag this activity for galactic defense?" Another whistle blast. The teams reset. "Teacher, next round, sudden death." Zarek turned away from the monitor with a grim expression. "Yes," he said, "flag it as planetary juvenile combat drills, priority 1. The Galactic Strategic Intelligence Corps was used to grim videos. Warfare, plagues, supernovas. They were not used to whatever this was. In a darkened analysis chamber, holographic screens floated in the air, each displaying a different angle of the human Jim. Juvenescent Terrans hurled spheres, dove behind lines, shrieked, argued, betrayed, and formed temporary alliances, all within a single game. Admiral Threx of the Varn Empire, a broad, stone-plated being whose species took pride in their stoic demeanor, stared in muted horror. "Those are their children?" he asked. "Yes, Admiral," replied Analyst Cirrus, a translucent jelly being who pulsed faintly with stress. "Age range equivalent to your pre-cadet programs." On screen, a kid intentionally bounced a ball off the floor so it ricocheted upward into an opponent's legs, eliminating him with a flourish. Threx's granite eyelids twitched. That shot required complex calculation. Another angle showed the teacher walking down the court, whistle in mouth, explaining something to a new class. "All right, guys, rules again. If you get hit, you're out. If you catch the ball, the thrower's out. No headshots on purpose. Don't be mean, but play hard. Got it?" The kids shouted, "Yes, coach!" Threx frowned. "Coach? Rank?" Cirrus hesitated. "We believe she is an educator, a civilian caretaker." Threx stared. Their educators run combat trials? Cirrus flicked through clips. Observe how they reference this as a game. Frequency tag, high. He played an audio snippet. Kid 1, Dodgeball is the best game. Kid 2, we should play elimination style. Kid 3, no, King's Court variant is way more brutal. Note, Cirrus said, their vocabulary, brutal, used with positive tone. Another video, kids choosing sides. One tall boy said smugly, I pick Maya, she's cracked at dodgeball. Maya, the sniper girl from Scene 1, smirked. Threx folded his arms. They select elite combatants for leadership roles. Additionally, Cirrus said, observe psychological resilience. A slow-motion replay showed a boy taking a hard hit to the stomach. He winced, staggered, then started laughing as he walked to the out area. A direct hit, followed by non-traumatic response. They normalize impact. Threx remained quiet for a long moment. Finally, he spoke. Have we seen any sign of adult combat doctrine similar to this? Cirrus pulled up a clip of older humans, teens and college-aged, playing dodgeball in a larger indoor arena. The stakes were clearly higher. Speed increased, throws sharper, evasions more acrobatic. Spectators shouted. One announcer yelled into a microphone, "And he lands the triple hit! Unbelievable!" Threx watched a teenager catch a ball one-handed while mid-dive, then instantly counterthrow to eliminate 2 opponents at once. He exhaled like stone grinding. Send this, he said, to the Joint Defense Council. Label it as evidence of early-stage warrior conditioning. And the children? Cirrus asked softly. Threx studied the smallest kid on the court, wearing glasses, tiny, unassuming, suddenly explode into motion, ducking under a thrown ball and countering with a perfect shot. They are, Threx said, a pre-military caste. The Galactic Joint Defense Council met in a floating amphitheater above a shimmering gas giant, a place meant for calm, rational deliberation. Today, no one was calm. Holograms showed dodgeball highlights from a dozen Terran schools. Children diving, children yelling battle cries, children coordinating ambushes with astonishing tactical intuition. Chair being Ellis, a feathered, luminous entity, pulsed anxiously. Confirm once more, these are non-enlisted, non-conscripted offspring? An Earth Cultural Liaison AI flickered to life in the center. Correct, it said. Humans designate them as kids, students, or brats. None are formal soldiers. A rumble of uneasy murmuring passed through the chamber. A 6-limbed general from the Core Dominion tapped his claws on the table. Play back the segment labeled Last Kid Standing. The projection switched to a single child on one side of the court, Maya again, surrounded by 3 opponents on the other side. The teacher called out, "Last player, 3-on-1, let's see it." Ellis whispered, 3 versus 1? That is a slaughter scenario. The whistle blew. The first ball rocketed toward Maya. She sidestepped, caught it, instantly fired it back, eliminating the thrower. 2 left. They split apart, flanking her. Maya backpedaled, eyes sharp. One ball came at chest height, the other, a split second later, aimed at her legs. She dropped to her knees. The first sailed over, the second skimmed past. She rolled, grabbed a stray ball, and flicked her wrist in a lightning throw that struck one opponent in the foot. Kids yelled, cheering, "Clutch! Clutch! 1v3 clutch!" The last boy charged, roaring, and threw as hard as he could. Maya ducked, the ball hit the wall behind her, bounced straight back, and nailed him between the shoulder blades. The teacher blew the whistle. "Game! Maya wins!" The viewing council was silent. Finally, the stone-plated representative from Varn rasped, That child executed adaptive evasion, target prioritization, and environmental ricochet exploitation in under 5 seconds. The AI nodded. It is commonly called being good at dodgeball. The Corps General clenched his claws. If their children can calculate like that during a game, imagine their adults on a battlefield, Ellis finished. A nervous delegate said, "Should we restrict contact with this species?" Another snorted. "They are primitives. Their technology is centuries behind ours. But their instincts," the Varn rep said, "are not." Ellis shifted colors in troubled patterns. "We need clarity," they said. "Direct reconnaissance, on the ground, at one of these schools." The council went quiet. They all understood what that meant. Eventually, Ellis spoke. "Very well. We will send observers, in disguise. They will infiltrate this dodgeball ritual." "And if it truly is training?" asked the Corps General. Ellis looked at Maya's frozen face on the hologram, grinning, wild, alive with adrenaline. "Then," Ellis said, "we will pray that humanity never decides to point those children at anyone but themselves." Agent Rauch, field operative of the Viral Recon Corps, had infiltrated war zones, pirate enclaves, and one particularly unsettling karaoke bar on Tau 7. He had never infiltrated an Earth elementary school. The disguise harness hummed softly against his carapace as it projected the image of a middle-aged human man. Khaki pants, polo shirt, clipboard. He checked himself in the shuttle's mirror. "Do I look convincing?" he asked. Earth Cultural Briefing AI replied, "You match an archetype known as Vice Principal. They are feared. Use that." Rauch stepped into the school hallway. Children ran past him in bright sneakers and cartoon backpacks, shouting about math, snacks, and something called slime. The sound alone made him flinch. A human adult approached, a woman in athletic clothing, whistle around her neck. "You must be from the district. Observation day?" she said. "Correct. I am here to observe the physical training of the juveniles." "Great," she said. "I'm Coach Ramirez. We're doing dodgeball today. Always good for evaluating coordination and teamwork." Rauch's internal threat sensors ticked up. "Yes," he said carefully. "Coordination, teamwork, and brutality." She laughed. "You've been to a 5th grade class before, huh?" He had not. She led him into the gym. The moment they entered, the noise hit him like a blast wave. Kids bounced on their toes, chattering. Red balls were piled in the center like ammunition. Lines marked the battlefield. "Today," Coach Ramirez announced, "we've got a visitor. He's here to make sure you guys follow rules and try your best." Dozens of small faces turned to stare at Rauch. Their eyes were not innocent. They were alert, hungry, competitive. Rauch fought the urge to retreat. Yes, I am here to observe your training." A kid in the front row whispered to another, "We got a new ref?" Coach Ramirez blew the whistle. "All right, split into red and blue. Maya, you're captain of red. Connor, you've got blue." Maya stepped forward, that same dangerous glint in her eyes. She looked Rauch up and down, then gave him a short nod, as if evaluating a potential ally or obstacle. Connor, tall and broad-shouldered, cracked his knuckles theatrically. "Remember, no bullying, no ganging up on the same kid over and over, but play hard. I want to see hustle." She turned to Rauch. "You can stand over there by the wall. Try not to get hit." "Hit?" Rauch repeated faintly. She laughed. "Trust me, they've got good arms." Rauch moved to the edge of the court, heart pounding. His disguise harness flickered briefly as a ball bounced nearby. Catherine's voice crackled in his earpiece. "We have visual. We are recording. Try to remain alive." "Very encouraging," Rauch muttered. Then the whistle blew, and the children of Earth unleashed hell. The first volley nearly triggered Rolk's panic reflex. Kids surged forward, grabbing balls and launching them with shocking force. The sound of rubber impacting flesh and floor echoed like artillery. One boy took a hit to the thigh, spun in place, and dropped theatrically. "I'm down," he groaned. "Avenge me!" His team roared and unleashed a barrage. Rolk raised his datapad, recording. Projectile velocity unexpectedly high. Emotional tone gleeful aggression. Casualty response dramatic but non-lethal. Maya moved through the chaos like a predator, dodging with minimal effort, conserving energy. She rarely threw. When she did, it was precise. Rolk watched her track 3 opponents at once. "Subject Maya exhibits advanced battlefield awareness," he whispered. "Recommend classification as tactical prodigy." She caught a ball aimed at her chest, barely flinching. Coach Ramirez blew the whistle. "Thrower's out, nice catch." The eliminated kid groaned, shuffled off. Rolk turned to the coach. "You reward interception of projectiles?" "Yeah," she said proudly. "Teaches hand-eye coordination and reaction timing, and it feels awesome." Rolk's translator rendered "feels awesome" as "induces pleasurable combat euphoria." He shivered. On the court, 2 players on Maya's team argued strategy. "Don't waste balls on Ethan. He can catch. Go for ankles. He sucks at low shots." "You get left. I'll force them right," another replied. Rolk's eyes widened. "They are planning flanking maneuvers." Coach Ramirez folded her arms, satisfied. "See that? Communication, targeting, spatial awareness. This is why dodgeball's great. They think it's just chaos, but they're learning." Rolk gulped. Learning. War. A small boy tripped, dropping his ball, and immediately another teammate shouted, "I got you!" and dove in front of him, taking the incoming hit instead. Rolk stiffened. "They sacrifice themselves to shield allies." "Yeah," Coach Ramirez said softly. "Good kids." Rolk recorded, voice shaking. Willingness to accept personal elimination for teammates high. Suddenly, a ball cracked against the wall inches from Rolk's head. He flinched, disguise rippling. Maya stood there, holding another ball, eyes narrowed. She tilted her head. "You okay, mister?" "Yes, I am intact." "You flinched," she said with clinical observation. "You'd be out for sure." "I am not participating," said Rolk quickly. "For now," Maya replied, tossing the ball up and down, never breaking eye contact. Rolk's internal systems logged, "Subject exhibits intimidation tactics." The whistle blew again. "Reset, new round," Coach Ramirez called. "This time we're playing last man standing." Rolk's translator buzzed ominously. "Last man standing." Kethron whispered in his earpiece, "We are witnessing a planetary combat test, Commander, and the subjects are enjoying it." Back on the Joint Defense Council's secure war room, the footage of that last man standing round played on an endless loop. Generals, admirals, strategic AI clusters all watched in strained silence. On screen, the game escalated. Children moved faster, throws were sharper, dodges narrower. Maya again became the focal point. She rolled behind a teammate as a volley of balls flew at her. Her teammate was hit twice, but Maya stayed untouched, then ducked out and used the distraction to hit 2 players in quick succession. The Corps general slammed a fist into the table. "She's using them as mobile cover." The AI Corps chimed in. "Correction, she is using their willingness to remain in line of fire as part of a broader evasive strategy. This indicates inherent understanding of combined unit tactics." Ellis's feathers dimmed with stress. "And these are unsupervised instincts?" Encouraged instincts, the AI replied. In multiple regions on Earth, this dodgeball is a standard gym activity. Threx, the Varn admiral, tapped a control node, pausing the footage on a frame of a ball inches from a kid's face as he twisted away, barely evading. "Look at that," Threx murmured. "That is equivalent to our advanced reflex training, Phase 3. Another clip. Kids arguing after a controversial call. "That hit you." "No, it bounced." "Coach, did that count?" The teacher mediated, made a ruling. Kids grumbled but accepted. Even their conflict resolution is framed inside combat rules, the AI said. They embed fairness protocols into chaos training. Ellis asked quietly, "What is your analysis, Strategist Core?" The AI pulsed. Conclusion: if humanity formalized these instincts with proper technology and galactic-scale logistics, they would be a disproportionately effective ground force. A hush fell. The Corps General bared gleaming teeth. "Then we must strike preemptively." "No," said Threx almost instantly. Heads turned. Threx's stone skin glinted as he leaned forward. "Strike them, and they will adapt. Look at them. They are already training their young to thrive in chaos." "We cannot do nothing," the general argued. "What if they join our enemies?" Ellis fluttered their wings, eyes on the frozen image of Maya mid-dodge. "Then," Ellis said slowly, "we must ensure they do not see us as enemies." A murmur ran through the room. One delegate said, "You suggest courting them?" "Understanding them," Ellis corrected. "We panic watching children play. What do they see when they watch us?" The AI flickered. "Recommendation: send a cultural contact team with explicit instructions not to provoke, threaten, or challenge them." The Corps General snorted. "Terrified of children, this is what we have become." The AI stated, "Statistical risk assessment suggests your forces would lose a close-range projectile battle to a group of trained Terran juveniles." The general shut up. Ellis sighed. "Very well. Our observers have already gone in. Let us see what happens next before we decide whether to fear or to respect." Rock's mission log later labeled that day as Event: Direct Combat Participation. Status: Forced. Emotional tag: Horrifying. It started with Coach Ramirez blowing the whistle and looking right at him. "Okay," she said, "we're uneven. We need one more player on red team." Rock stiffened. "Perhaps you can select another juvenile." She pointed at him. "You!" His disguise harness whined in protest. "I am not trained for this." Maya called out, "Let him play. He can be cannon fodder if he's bad." The kids laughed. Rock whispered, "Cannon fodder?" Coach Ramirez grinned. "Don't worry, it's just a game. Nobody gets hurt." Behind his eyes, trauma footage of war zones flashed. He stepped onto the court. Kethron shouted in his ear, "Abort mission." "Too late," Rock murmured. The red team huddled up. Maya took charge. "Okay, new guy, stand in the back. Try not to get hit. If you catch a ball, that would actually be helpful." Rock nodded, heart pounding. "I will endeavor not to die." Connor's blue team lined up opposite them, eyes gleaming with competitive fire. Coach Ramirez raised her whistle. "Ready?" Rock bent his knees, claws sweating under the holographic fingers. "Set?" He scanned their faces. Not hostile, not murderous, excited. "Go!" Kids exploded forward. Rock stayed back as ordered. Brawls flew. One whizzed past his ear with a crack like a grav cannon. His disguise glitched, briefly revealing the outline of his real mandibles. Maya glanced back, brow furrowing. "Huh." She shrugged, then snatched a ball out of the air and fired it back so hard it bounced off two kids in a chain elimination. "Double kill!" someone yelled. Rock ducked another ball. They named their kills. A stray ball rolled to his feet. "Throw it!" Maya shouted. Rock picked it up hesitantly. The ball felt soft, betrayingly harmless. He threw. It sailed 10 feet, sagged, and plopped to the ground. The nearest kid blinked, then kindly stepped aside instead of pretending it hit him. Maya sighed. "Yeah, okay, he sucks." Rock's pride withered. Another ball flew at him. Instinct, drilled by years of combat, took over. Instead of flinching, he shifted his weight and brought his hands up. The ball smacked into his palms. He caught it. The gym went silent. Coach Ramirez blew the whistle. "Throwers out. Nice catch." The kids screamed. "Yo, new guy clutched. He caught that? Mister, you're cracked." Rock stood there, stunned, holding the ball. Maya grinned suddenly. "Okay, maybe you don't suck." Something inside him warmed. Was this what humans called encouragement? "Throw it," a kid shouted. Rock squared his shoulders, stared at the largest blue team kid, and hurled the ball with everything he had. It sailed in a wobbly arc and landed 3 feet short. Connor picked it up easily. "Nice try," he called, then rocketed it at someone else. Maya patted Rock's arm. "We'll work on it." Kethron's voice whispered in his ear. "You still live?" "Yes," Rock replied softly, watching the children laugh, "and I do not want to disappoint them."
The game escalated. Rock lasted approximately 40 seconds more. He dodged one ball purely by accident, tripping at the right moment, but took a direct hit to the leg from a kid half his size. He dropped more from shock than pain. "You're out!" several voices chorused. Rock stared at them from the floor. Defeat. Eliminated by a child. Maya extended a hand to him. Not bad for a first game. He took her hand, let her pull him up. "I failed." She shrugged. "Everybody gets out. That's the point." He frowned. "The point of what?" "Playing," she said simply. "You lose, you play again. You get better." On the sidelines, he watched the rest of the match. Kids who'd taken vicious shots laughed it off. Some teased, some sulked, but all reset when the whistle blew. Rauch noted, psychological resilience extremely high. They experience failure as temporary, not terminal. After the bell, kids streamed out, chattering about who got who, ridiculous throws, and that one sick catch the new guy made. One kid jogged up to him. "Hey, mister," he said, "you should come back next week. Maybe we play jailbreak." Rauch blinked. "What is jailbreak?" The kid grinned mysteriously. "It's like dodgeball, but more chaotic." Rauch made a private note. Jailbreak, likely advanced combat variant. Avoid. When the gym emptied, Coach Ramirez approached him. "You did pretty good. Didn't scream, didn't run away. I've had actual subs refuse to come back after dodgeball day." Rauch hesitated. "Your young enjoy this?" "They love it. It burns energy, teaches coordination, and they learn to take a hit without falling apart. We also talk about fairness and not targeting the same kid over and over. It's life training." "Life training," he echoed. "Yeah, life's gonna throw stuff at them. I'd rather they learn young they can get hit and still get back up." Rauch went very quiet. His own species taught avoidance, retreat, preservation at all costs. Human children were taught, "You will get hit and you will be okay." He stepped outside, heart heavy and strangely impressed. Kethron spoke softly in his ear. "Report." Rauch looked back at the school. "Initial assessment flawed. This is not a battlefield. Not exactly." "Then what is it?" Rauch smiled faintly. "Preparation for all the ones they haven't seen yet." The Joint Defense Council reconvened to hear Rauch's testimony. He stood at the center of the chamber, still wearing a human-style collared shirt. It felt comforting for some reason. Ellis addressed him. "Agent Rauch, your written report was surprising. Please summarize." Rauch bowed. "Honored Council,
Initial observations suggested human juveniles participate in ritualized combat known as dodgeball. This is accurate. The Corps General smirked. As we thought. Rolk held up a hand. However, interpretation as a purely militaristic trial was incomplete. The Varn Admiral raised a stony brow. Explain. Rolk glanced at the hologram of the gym, now frozen on a frame of kids laughing as they left class. Humans, he said, teach their young to endure impact, to move in chaos, to anticipate threats. But they also teach them to laugh, to accept temporary loss, and to seek improvement rather than revenge. He paced slowly. I was eliminated by a child half my size. She offered me her hand and congratulations. There was no gloating in the way you'd expect of a conqueror, only inclusion. Do they still train for war? The Corps General pressed. Yes, Rolk said, but not only for war. They train for living in a universe that will not be kind to them. The AI Corps shimmered. This aligns with broader observations. Humans create adversity simulations for recreation, games, sports, competitions, to normalize dealing with stress. Ellis pulsed thoughtfully. And their children? Rolk smiled faintly. They are terrifying, he said, but not because they dream of killing, because they expect to fall and then get back up. The chamber fell silent. Threx cleared his throat. Strategic recommendation. Rolk met his gaze. Do not underestimate them. Do not provoke them, but do not assume they are seeking conquest. Ellis tilted her head. What are they seeking? Rolk remembered Maya's grin, the way she'd yelled, "Double kill!" and then held the door open for a smaller kid. Challenge, he said. Connection, fun, and yes, sometimes dominance. They are contradictory. That is their strength. The Corps General grumbled, but softer now. So we should neither attack nor panic. Correct, Rolk said, but I would strongly recommend never entering a war that involves their children, because if this is their baseline at age 10, he let the implication hang. The Council recorded their decision. Contact status, cautious respect. Military status, do not engage Terran juveniles. Cultural status, further study required. Ellis dismissed Rolk with a nod. Thank you, Agent. You have given us much to consider. As Rolk left, the AI Corps quietly added. Also, recommend implementing Dodgeball as a training tool for Council security forces. Its efficiency appears concerningly high. No one argued.
Months later, on a neutral training station orbiting a quiet star, something unusual happened. In the central gym, normally reserved for combat drills and endurance tests, a new set of equipment appeared. A glossy floored court, boundary lines, and a crate full of bright red rubber balls. Rolk stood at the edge of the court, arms crossed, watching a group of elite soldiers from 3 different species eye the balls with suspicion. Threx's second-in-command, a stone-skinned Varn officer, sniffed. "This is absurd. These are toys." "Pick one up," Rolk said. The officer did. Squeezed it. Raised a brow. "Now throw it," Rolk said. "At me." The officer grinned. The ball flew. Rolk stepped aside, letting it strike the wall with a resounding boom that echoed through the chamber. Analytics screens lit instantly. Projectile speed, 68 units. Impact force, 2.3 stun rating. Potential concussive damage, moderate. The soldiers muttered. Rolk smiled. Now imagine a human 10-year-old throwing that harder and dodging 3 at once. A hush fell. Training Command reluctantly approved the experiment. They called it Dynamic Evasion Drill 7. Rock called it what it was: dodgeball. At first, the alien soldiers were clumsy. They caught balls with their faces instead of hands. They tripped, argued, complained. Then something shifted. They began to adapt. Communication improved. Evasion sharpened. They learned to watch bounces, predict arcs, coordinate throws. One day, during a particularly fierce match, a Varn officer took a brutal shot to the chest, stumbled back, and laughed. "Again!" he roared. Rock's chest tightened. That laugh sounded human. Later, during a report to Ellis, Rock summarized, "Dodgeball drills have increased our troops' reflexes and cohesion, but more importantly, they are learning to fail and recover, to treat impact as feedback, not catastrophe." Ellis glowed softly. Perhaps humanity has more to teach us than we feared. On Earth, at that same moment, Coach Ramirez blew her whistle. "Maya, leave some kids alive next time." Maya laughed, tossing a ball from hand to hand.